Tonight's top story: have kids become targets on college campuses? Also, what more and should we be doing to obviously help ensure their safety on campus? Good evening and welcome to 630 Point of View. I'm Chris Berg. Thanks so much for joining us. Last weekend, a gay man was assaulted just outside of the Lambda Chi fraternity up at UND. Now, the victim and his father believe he was assaulted because of his sexual orientation, and they want the people who did this to be prosecuted for a hate crime, even though North Dakota does not have a hate crime statute. Now, earlier today, Valley News Live crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson had an exclusive interview with Dan Gisvold. He's the father of the alleged victim. Now, in a moment, I'm going to play for you a short clip of that interview. In my opinion, he's got some very, very strong words for the members of the fraternity. But first, I want to bring in our guest tonight. He's the alumni advisor for UND's Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity. He was unanimously chosen to be their advisor back in 2014. And because a lot of people are saying this was a homophobic, hate crime type of situation at the fraternity, this gentleman is also openly gay. His name's Randy Ritterman, and he joins us tonight. Randy, thanks so much for joining us, sir, via Skype. First off, I want to kind of play this clip for you, Randy, just give you a chance to respond. He gives kind of both sides in this clip, but I want you to listen to closely some of the strong words he says about the members of the fraternity.
But overall, like, he wrote a message on Facebook, you know, saying I don't blame the fraternity system at UND. It's not their problem, it's these individuals that attack me. It's their problem. Not everyone in that fraternity is homophobic. I know that, everyone else knows that, you know, use a little common sense. How you cannot sit there and have different people inside the frat house, call them gay, take your clothes off, we don't want you here, you need to leave, and start pushing them, go outside, get in a fight, and then have 4 guys jump you, strip you of your clothes and your dignity, and then whip you with a belt like an animal and kick you. If that's not a hate crime, I don't know what a hate crime is. And thank God there were some people around that night that were willing to step up and help them, because nobody in that fraternity at that party was willing to help. You know, like, apparently somebody called the police, but why were they calling the police? I don't know. So I don't think it was to help my son.
No one in the fraternity was there willing to help my son. Randy, again, thanks for being here. You say what to those comments, sir?
I find them very interesting. First of all, the person that called the police was a member of the fraternity. That I know for a fact. It's been recorded by the campus police as well. So we know that that was actually a call that was made by the fraternity. You know, my experience in the fraternity is very different. I was a member of Lambda Chi Alpha back in and now I will date myself, the late 70s and early 80s. It was during that time, you know, I have to say that I've never had an issue with the fact that I was gay. As you pointed out when we started this conversation, I was unanimously voted as the advisor. It was very well known I was gay. I'm openly gay. I've been with my partner for 16 years. So to make the comment that there are homophobic or hate crimes in that fraternity is absolutely without grounds. I can tell you that I have never heard a gay slur. I have never heard of an issue with anyone in the house. It was a unanimous vote. I meet with these gentlemen at least weekly, if not twice weekly. I'm there about every other month for a variety of different meetings, parents' days. I know their parents. These young gentlemen are great assets to our community. They do a lot for community service. So to say that it was a hate crime or that they're homophobic, I find that extremely hard to believe, given my experience as an openly gay man. They oftentimes ask about my family, about my partner, what we've got going on. So, you know, I find it very interesting that is how this is being portrayed.
So I know this is pure speculation, but from what you've just said, and I want to put words in your mouth, sir, is basically what I'm hearing you say is, hey, Chris, if in fact what happened, it must have been guests at this party. Is that an accurate assessment of what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, you know, this is being examined by the Grand Forks Police, the national headquarters for Lambda Chi Alpha, as well as UND, and the truth will come out, whatever that will be. And I'm really not going to take a guess as to what it is. What I'm saying is I truly believe in the gentlemen of Lambda Chi Alpha, and I know that this is not something that they would have done. It has not been my experience. I've never seen anything even remotely close, and I'm there quite often.
So you sound very confident when this police report does come out, there is absolutely zero chance that anybody associated with this fraternity was involved in this assault, correct?
Using the word associate is quite broad. I do not believe anyone in the fraternity or a member of the fraternity is involved.
Okay, let's move on to this because I think that there's been kind of an uproar as well. UND President Kelly released a statement about the situation as of late. I'm going to read you a little bit about what he said in the first paragraph. He said, while we don't yet know all the details, very important piece there, I was disturbed to hear that a non-UND student was reported physically assaulted and subjected to taunts about his sexual orientation at a UND fraternity this past weekend. So again, don't know all the details, but he's making the assumption here with no police report out that clearly this man was assaulted based purely on his sexual orientation. In your opinion, did President Kelly jump the gun here?
Again, it is his assumption. He can make whatever assumptions he wants to do, but we all know there is no evidence. There is no information that's been provided by the police or an investigation by UND. So until that information comes out, it would be very hard for anyone to know exactly what did or did not happen.
So with that being said, in your opinion, is Mr. Kelly acting irresponsibly in this situation?
You know, he's the president of UND, and I'm sure he feels he did the best thing for the university in order to take the stance that he did. I can't say that I necessarily agree with him, given that there is no information available. There was no police report. There was no investigation at the time that these comments were made.
Randy, I've got a minute left. I want to give you the last word in this context, if you will. You know, you and I spoke earlier today. You mentioned, hey, Chris, I grew up in small town North Dakota. Part of the story you didn't hear tonight, but it'll be up at valleynewslive.com when Nicole spoke with his father is, hey, my son's from small town Minnesota. He experienced discrimination all his life growing up, being openly gay in the small town areas, obviously, that our communities are made up of. I just want you to share your experience being a homosexual man. Did you find yourself being discriminated within your community, ever up at UND? Your experience, sir.
Thank you very much, Chris. You know, I grew up, like I said, at a different time. It was a time when things weren't discussed. Obviously, people could make their assumptions. Were there some cross-eyed looks and stuff? There was when I was growing up. I grew up in a small town in the middle of north-central North Dakota, the middle son of a truck driver. I'm very proud of that. I can tell you that once I joined the fraternity house, I felt that I had really found a home. The men were very supportive. They've been my friends, lifelong friends. You know, the gentlemen that are there now are very supportive. So I have to say that once I found the fraternity, I really found a home, and I felt like I really belonged. So I think that was one of the very positive things that came. I never felt any blatant issues when I went to the University of North Dakota. I think it's a very fine college. I am very proud of the fact that I did both my undergraduate and my master's work there. So I have to say, no, I did not experience a great ton of discrimination. There was the typical eye crossing, the typical, you know, comments that were made under the breath, you know, in some instances growing up in a small town, but nothing blatant.
I'm very happy to hear that. Again, Randy Ritterman, thank you so much for your time, sir. When this police report does come out, we'd love to have you back if it works out for you, okay?
I would love to do that. Thank you very much, Chris, for letting me come on.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much, sir. All right, when we come back, first of all, final view tonight, we're going to kind of do a little celebratory thing. MSUM's got a huge game on their brand new Shields field. We'll talk about that. But coming up next, the one and only Mick Carey's been here at Valley News Live for 27 years. I think I may have had the honor to have the last final TV interview with Mr. Mick Carey. You're going to hear from him right after this.